Reverend Rodriguez, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. First of all, I want to get your reaction to President Trump's, new directive to now allow ICE agents to actually go into churches, hospitals, and schools, specifically churches, to arrest people.
Yeah, in the first go around in his first term, by the grace of God exclusively, we had input with the Trump administration. I believe we're going to have likewise in this second term. But around the issue of immigration, we were intricately involved. And I can tell you firsthand, the administration is going go into schools and churches and hospitals, but not to deport individuals who have been here 15, 20, 25 years who have never had a parking ticket. They're coming after the pedophiles. They're coming after the gangbangers. They're coming after the cartels, the coyotes, the human traffickers. That's who they're coming after. What they're saying is this: there is no protective space. The idea of a sanctuary, state, city, or location is not part of our mantra. We're going in. If you're a pedophile, if you abused a child and you're undocumented, you cannot hide in a church, a hospital, or a school. That's their message. And I agree with that message, as long as they don't go into churches coming after people who have been here for 20 years, whose kids were raised here and born here, and they don't even have a parking ticket, of course. And I don't believe that's what Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, or even the president have articulated.
What are you hearing from faith leaders in the Hispanic community on this issue? How are they preparing?
Yeah, well, I'm hearing both things. There is a segment that is motivated by politics, meaning that small 17, 18% that didn't support President Trump's election. That segment is elevating a narrative of fear mongering because it serves a collective meta narrative in the long term politically. Then there are those that did support President Trump in November, but have great angst and consternation, and I have great empathy for those, and I share a bit of that concern. I want to make sure they don't cross the line, meaning the administration. Uh, you hear both. There is a lot of fear mongering. I'm hearing from bishops and pastors saying last Sunday our attendance dropped 15, 20% because there is a concern that these areas now will be targeted. I have to be careful and very nuanced, and I have to mince my words for purposes of protecting whatever access I may or may not have. I can tell you from firsthand conversations with those that know that they are not targeting schools, churches, and hospitals with the primary objective of harming or deporting undocumented individuals who are not involved in nefarious activities. They're coming after the mucho mala hombres. If you're part of that Venezuelan gang, they're coming after you. And there's not a cathedral or a church or a school or a hospital that can protect you.
Talk about how this could have an impact on Hispanic pastors and their congregations. For example, if ICE agents come in and perhaps a member of that church is an undocumented pedophile, and maybe the congregation didn't know about it. How could this affect that congregation, children and people who are going to be in the midst of that congregation and the pastors?
I cannot deny the fact that there may very well be negative impact as it pertains to congregations, without a doubt. Collective collateral damage, not to be confused with what Tom Homan expressed in the past 48 hours of explicit collateral damage in sanctuary cities, where these cities and states are not permitting ICE to have access to prisons and so forth. If we could help by doing away with sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, so ICE can just target those that are involved in nefarious activities, and we lessen the possibility of collateral damage. So my clarion call is for governors and mayors to please do away with the sanctuary notion and umbrella and let ICE go into prisons. Let ICE do what they do, targeting these individuals that are involved in criminal activity, not harming those and not touching those that are not. So it may negatively impact, especially in sanctuary cities and states.
Do you see this causing some to stop attending church altogether? You talked about you're hearing from pastors who are saying their attendance numbers are down. You see more
I
of that happening.
I hope not. I pray not. I pray that via the conduit of dissemination of accurate, correct, validated information, it will serve as a deterrent to attendance going down or diminishing or declining because of the misinformation and because of some legitimate fear or angst out there in the system. I pray not. Once again, I do not believe the Trump administration, who is right in addressing 10 to 15 million individuals who came here illegally in the past 4 years. By the way, 300,000 children who are missing. The Trump administration has every right, and I support President Trump in stopping all illegal immigration without a doubt, 100%. With that being said, I do not believe this administration will in any way, form, or shape work to jeopardize churches and communities that undergird his very administration and undergirded his election, including the Latino demographic that 46% supported him for the first time, a Republican candidate, and 54% of all Latino men supported him. So there are long-term political ramifications if something takes place outside the confines of what he has already articulated. And take him for his word. I was with him when he said he wanted to find a pathway for DACA. I was with him when he said we have to solve this long-term for those that have been here for many, many years. So I'm going to take him for his word.
You know, Reverend
At
Rodriguez,
his
there's
word.
also a lot of fear as schools and hospitals are, also deemed fair game for ICE raids. What message does that send?
Yeah, the message again is if you are involved in nefarious activities, criminal elements, we're coming after you. And you can't hide in school. You can't hide in a hospital. Now, you and I both know, just using common sense as a rubric, that ICE is not going to target elementary schools, right? I mean, it's just the outcry would be vicious out there, and they're not going to target kids in no way, form, or shape will they target kids, or middle schools, or even high schools, unless they are involved in criminal activity and so forth. So that again, there are so many minds out there that I do believe the administration will be very careful in making sure they protect the individuals that need to be protected. But once again, this is primarily that entire mantra or narrative has to do with sanctuary cities and states. It's a message to political individuals who are protecting. Can you believe that there are states and mayors who have rapists and pedophiles in their prisons, undocumented, and they refuse to give ICE direct access or information? To me, I find that to be morally reprehensible and illogical. That's where that message is primarily targeted towards. So I do not believe there should be any angst in schools and hospitals unless they are harboring someone who is involved in serious criminal activity.
Absolutely. Have you let the White House know of any concerns you have or the concerns you're hearing from other Hispanic pastors in the faith community?
I began a process in the past 48 hours to express my concern, and not just my concern, the concern of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference, our network, and the concern of just Latino pastors and leaders across the country who supported him, by the way, in the election. So I am in that process as we speak.
Reverend Samuel Rodriguez, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today and for sharing your insights. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.